Live pictures over the downtown Dayton skyline tonight on our Eco Plumber Skycam. It says the downtown area is getting a makeover.
Gwyneth Falloon spoke with the Downtown Dayton Partnership to find out what redevelopments and renovations are coming in the near future. She joins us now in studio. And Gwen, I know there are a couple of buildings that are set to open in a few weeks, right?
Yeah, that is right, Megan. I spoke with the DDD president, Sandy Gudorf, earlier, and she tells me there are 3 buildings scheduled to open in the coming weeks. One is a hotel near the location of the old Mendelssohn's building, and the other 2 are apartments to help accommodate a need for housing downtown. All 3 are located in the Water Street district near the Dragons baseball field.
Now, Gwen, you mentioned the old Mendelssohn's building. Is the Downtown Dayton Partnership helping with the redevelopment of that as well?
They are. They have also partnered, though, with Crawford Hoying out of Columbus to help with that project. Gudorf tells me the old Mendelssohn building is going to be a multi-use building.
You will see some office, housing, restaurants, entertainment, along with a parking garage.
Now, she also tells me over the next year, they're going to continue to look at the existing structures and spaces across the city to hopefully redevelop. She says repurposing is key, and the additional space will open opportunities for entertainment, housing, and businesses, helping to keep revenue in the area. She says the Water Street apartments and that hotel should be open by early April at the very latest, and she hopes to have the Mendelssohn's renovation complete by the end of 2024. Back to you.
And thanks, and now more from the aftermath of those storms that passed through the area yesterday. This was video taken from Pike Township in Clark County. You can see a funnel starting to form from those clouds. That area dealt with damage from a tornado and damaging winds as that system made its way through. Melena Brown was at the site of a home there that was hit by a tornado and had significant damage from a tree falling on it. She spoke to the National Weather Service about their findings.
The National Weather Service made its way through Miami Valley yesterday, including coming to this home right here that was struck by a tornado. They told me that they measure and determine tornado based on wind speeds, damage, and the reports that they get. They were able to make a determination on the tornado that struck this home.
We determined it's an EF1 tornado with max wind speeds around 90 to 95 miles per hour.
Tornadoes aren't typical this time of year, and they do tell me in the next coming weeks we probably won't see that severe weather, but as we move into the later spring months and even June, we could see an uptick in severe weather. Reporting in Clark County, I'm Melena Brown.
Melena, thanks. And one of those tornadoes that touched down was in Madison Township. That's located northwest of Middletown in Butler County. It was revealed today that that one was a EF1 tornado. Members of the National Weather Service, Madison Township trustees, and Butler County EMA all out there earlier today to survey the damage.
We're a rural community, and if we would have had homes like subdivisions, things like that, it could have been a lot worse than what it was today, and we are so blessed that it wasn't.
Now, emergency crews say about a dozen homes in Madison Township were damaged. Thankfully, no one was hurt out of it.
And more damage from a tornado that touched down in Pickaway County. This was in the village of Orient, and it was hit with an EF0 tornado. Trees and pieces of homes were scattered throughout the area as the National Weather Service and Red Cross officials were both out surveying the area and checking on all who were impacted. Now, for those living in this neighborhood, once the tornado passed, they say they jumped in to help.
You freak out a little bit, but then again, you look back and you think you're fine. And then all of a sudden, it's just help people mode. Busted the window out and went in and climbed over and climbed down the hallway.
Neighbors say luckily no one was seriously hurt. Now they're working together to put their community back together tonight.
Well, what a difference a day makes. Much quieter today, and it's going to be quite warm, relatively speaking, starting tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, very spring-like. We're tracking some 70s in the forecast. Another warm day. It's just been a warm month overall, but I wanted to take a look at the tornadoes that we saw in our area yesterday. So we did have 2 EF1 tornadoes across the area, one of which was in Butler, one of which was in Clark County. So here's a look at the Clark County one. This had winds of 90 to 95 miles per hour. The stronger one of the 2 was actually in Butler County, where we saw an EF1 tornado, winds 110 miles per hour. That's a high-end EF1, borderline EF2 tornado. Either way, damage reported across the area. Thankfully, a much calmer evening and chilly evening across the region too. 34 Urbana, 39 in Dayton. We actually start to see temperatures climb by tomorrow in the 40s in the morning, back close to 70 by the afternoon. I'm also tracking some rain and storms coming up.
Natalie, thanks. And as we get weather updates, we will alert you, of course, on air and through our app. With that app, you can get breaking weather alerts sent right to the palm of your hand. If you'd like, you can scan that QR code on your screen. It'll take you to a place to download it for free. You can also find it in the Google Play and Apple App stores.
The city of Dayton seeing an uptick in violent crime. This as the Dayton Police Department investigates a double homicide. Officers do have a suspect in custody, but they say they need help locating a person of interest who tampered with the evidence. Mamie Bob reports.
Police are calling this a heinous crime. They say this person of interest is one of two who came to the scene after the victims were shot. But they say he returned with the suspect and tampered with evidence. The two women inside the SUV have been identified as 44-year-old Michaela Daniels and 38-year-old Felicia Brown. Police say they were shot and killed in the SUV about 2:30 Sunday morning at this Shell gas station on West 3rd Street. It wasn't until about after 5 police arrived when the clerk inside activated the silent alarm because they saw someone near the SUV. Investigators say no one called for help. Police say the city's homicide rate is going up. Last year at this time, we only had 6 homicides. This year, that number has doubled.
We have 12 homicides so far this year. We have an increase in aggravated assault. So gun violence is definitely an issue, and we are working to take steps to try to reduce that.
Today, I spoke to neighbors of one of the homicide victims, Felicia Brown. They say she recently had a baby. They were shocked and saddened to hear the news. Police say they are still investigating the motive in this case. Back to you.
Well, here's a live look from the Xenia Police Department's Facebook page as police there are investigating an incident where a 12-year-old girl said she was nearly drowned in a bathtub during an alleged aggravated robbery. Happened on Reed Avenue. The suspect not there when police got there. A description of that suspect hasn't been released yet, but if you have any information about this, you're asked to contact Xenia Police at the number on your screen, 937-376-7206.
A 19-year-old Florida man accused of killing 3 people is now facing more charges. Keith Moses now faces 3 first-degree murder charges after investigators say he shot and killed a 38-year-old woman in a car last week. Then hours later, they say he returned to that same area and shot and killed a 9-year-old girl and also a TV news reporter. Moses waived the right to be in court today for his first appearance. The girl's mom and the news cameraman were also both shot, but thankfully survived.
Families of the Uvalde shooting victims made a trip to the Texas Capitol. They're demanding action on gun reform.
Do something now. Do something now.
There's a list of bills Democratic state senators are working on that includes expanding safe storage requirements, requiring ID for selling ammunition, and creating a database for large sales, stronger red flag laws, and raising the age to buy firearms from 18 to 21. Now, the measures, though, face an uphill battle in the Republican-controlled legislature.
Every Republican in this building can do something, believe it or not. 75% of Republican voters are in agreement that we should have what the Democrats are supporting, what these families are supporting, because this isn't political. This has nothing to do with politics.
19 children, 2 teachers died at Robb Elementary last May. The shooter purchased 2 guns online shortly after his 18th birthday. Some experts say red flag laws would have prevented the shooting in this case based on the suspect's background. President Biden's student loan forgiveness program is in the hands of the High Court tonight. Conservative justices who hold a majority in the Supreme Court were skeptical of arguments in favor of forgiving the debt, some suggesting the administration has overstepped its authority with the plan.
Most casual observers would say if you're going to give up that much amount of money, if you're going to affect the obligations of that many Americans on a subject that's of great controversy, they would think that's something for Congress to act on. And if they haven't acted on it, then maybe that's a good lesson to say for the president or the administrative bureaucracy that maybe that's not something they should undertake on their own.
If the plan proceeds, it's estimated to cost $400 billion over 30 years. 26 million people have applied for the relief from the program. It's been blocked by Republican-appointed judges on lower courts. A Supreme Court decision expected by June.
Well, it's not clear which way the court is going to lean, but the stakes are high for people across the country with student loan debt, many hoping for financial relief tonight. Miles Harris reports.
Miles Harris here. I am on OSU's campus. We are talking to students and even experts when it comes to the Supreme Court's hearing in relation to that student loan forgiveness plan. I got a chance to talk to an expert who says the weight of this hearing it's on millions of Americans' minds. This expert, they still deal with student loans, and they say that they've got people, they have clients in their 60s and even in their 70s that are still paying off those student loans and that debt. I also got a chance to talk to students here on OSU's campus who tell me that the impact, the weight of this, it even affects them as well, because whether or not this $20,000 in can go through as far as that the forgiveness, it gives those ideas for students, even those in high school, whether or not they even want to attend a school here like OSU, because when it comes to college tuition, it is far from cheap. Now, experts say that this will take time. As far as hearing more about this, it'll take about 60 or 90 days, and we will definitely circle back around when a decision does come from the Supreme Court. On your side here on OSU's campus, I'm Miles Harris for Dayton 24/7 Now News.
So big changes coming to Miami University's campus. How students are responding to the university dropping the COVID vaccine mandate tonight.
And the EPA opening a new welcome center in East Palestine today. The purpose of the center and how this could bring peace of mind to residents there.
And we're tracking a warm Wednesday on the way, and when our next weather maker makes its way into, that's coming up. Here's a live look from our Eco Plumber Skycam. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
We're following developing news out of Greece tonight. Just hours ago, a train derailed in Greece, injuring dozens. Lydia Bice at the Now Desk. Lydia, where exactly did this happen?
Well, this happened in northern Greece, about 235 miles north of Athens this evening, which is early Wednesday morning their time. Now, within the last hour, the AP has reported that 26 people are dead and at least 85 are injured.
And is there any idea how exactly this happened?
Well, the official cause is still under investigation, but multiple cars derailed and at least 3 burst into flames after the collision. Government officials say that the Army has been contacted to assist in the rescue. Back to you.
Well, a quiet evening across the area. We have mostly clear skies. We will start to see eventually cloud cover build its way in as our next weather maker approaches. But first, what we're going to see is a warm front lift through the area. And as that happens, we're really going to see temperatures begin to climb for us. So here's a look at what we're tracking early tomorrow morning. We'll wake up to 40s and 30s, but we warm up quickly, 60s and 70s tomorrow afternoon. We will see a little bit more cloud cover by the afternoon hours, a little breezy, but really a nice day. Now heading into the evening, it's really between about 6 to 8 p.m. We will see the potential for a few showers, maybe even some thunderstorms as that heads its way off to the east, but it'll be in and out pretty quickly, and then cooler air does take over. We'll start out in the 30s on Thursday and in the 50s by our Thursday afternoon.
Natalie, thanks. The EPA opened its Welcome Center in East Palestine today. After the train derailment, hazardous chemicals left many in the community there concerned about their water and soil. EPA Director Michael Regan says he understands many citizens may have questions about what the future holds. He points to the new center as a symbol of the agency's long-haul commitment to the response effort.
We want to make sure that the community knows we are here for them and that we're bringing resources to bear for them. I'm excited to share that EPA's Community Welcome Center is now officially open for business.
Officials say the new center is a one-stop shop for residents to get their questions answered about response efforts. It'll also provide resources like in-home air monitoring and cleaning services. Now, officials are using a mobile laboratory to monitor the air in East Palestine tonight. The Environmental Protection Agency brought the TAGA bus to help with response efforts. TAGA stands for Trace Atmospheric Gas Analyzer. According to the EPA, the equipment will conduct real-time air monitoring and sampling during waste removal. The EPA regional administrator is encouraging the community to check out the technology for themselves.
I would invite you to tour the TAGA bus and maybe ask them to go to certain areas if you feel that there are areas that deserve some additional testing, and that's true for any resident in the greater community. Visit with the bus and see what they can do.
EPA officials say the bus also helps them get results more quickly since samples do not need to be sent away to be analyzed. Meanwhile, President Biden says he still has no plans to visit East Palestine, saying that he's keeping tabs on the cleanup process. But some Republicans claim that's just not good enough.
Mr. President, it's past time for you to make the short trip to East Palestine and show up for the 5,000 Americans who call that little small Appalachian village home. You pride yourself on your Lunch Bucket Joe nickname and tout your blue-collar Scranton, Pennsylvania roots. But, Mr. President, there is nowhere more blue-collar than Northeast Ohio.
Now, Republicans say there is going to be a hearing soon to flush out the Biden administration's response to the disaster. And of course, we're going to continue to follow this big story as we receive any new information. You can head right now to our website. That's Dayton247now.com, where you can find stories just like this one under the news tab.
All right, here's a live look from our Eco Plumber Skycam over downtown Dayton tonight. So we mentioned this before. If you step outside, it feels cold. It feels like a typical late February evening. But by tomorrow, when we start March, it's almost like it flips.
Yeah, we warm up pretty quickly tomorrow. We're tracking 70s, but it's a very brief warm up that we're expecting. So soak it up while we have it. Yeah. It's going to be really a nice afternoon. We will see the chance for some showers, even a few storms by late into the evening as that colder air starts to slide in. So enjoy that 70-degree high temperature for our Wednesday. A little bit of a breeze. We do get colder by the end of the week, 50s, and then the weekend we're tracking 40s, which will be closer to normal for this time of the year. But into the longer term, March, in fact, almost the entire month right now, the outlook is looking cooler than normal. So it's been very spring-like. It looks like March may be a little bit winter-like. So we'll have a look at that 7-day coming up in just a bit.
Natalie, thanks. Additional SNAP benefits coming to an end tomorrow. The millions of Americans this is going to impact. And an illegal practice at an Ohio bank leads to a $9 million payout. Coming up, we explain what redlining is and the details of that settlement. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
The Justice Department has reached a $9 million settlement with an Ohio bank accused of redlining. That's an illegal practice in which lenders avoid providing credit services to people living in communities of color because of race, color, or national origin of the residents. An investigation found that Park National Bank failed to provide mortgage lending services to people living in predominantly black and Hispanic neighborhoods. That happened in the Columbus area between 2015 and 21.
Unfortunately, redlining has not yet been relegated to the dustbin of history. That redlining persists to this day in the form of lenders who avoid providing mortgage lending services in communities of color is unacceptable and unlawful.
As part of Tuesday's settlement, Park National Bank has agreed to invest nearly $8 million in a subsidy program to increase access to loans in majority black and Hispanic neighborhoods. Now, the bank will also spend more than $1 million to improve community partnerships and provide better financial counseling and education to minority leaders.
Well, SNAP benefits that were increased during the pandemic are set to end tomorrow. February was the last month for people in Ohio, or in the U.S., to receive the additional food assistance benefits. That came to around $95 per month. More than 40 million Americans received benefits from this program. The additional money was meant to help to address food insecurity during the COVID-19 pandemic. It was ended as part of the Federal Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2023 that was signed at the end of December.
Big changes are coming to Miami University as it relates to COVID vaccines. The school dropping the requirement to get one effective immediately. As Brad Underwood explains, some students say they'd still likely get boosters even though it's no longer required.
On campus, there's almost a 2019 feel. Everyone is together, and long gone are masks and now vaccine requirements at Miami University.
I definitely feel more relieved now that we don't have to have vaccines, especially in school. It's like, you get kind of that weight off of you.
Current freshmen like Jason Myhall had to get the vaccine to come to Oxford.
Well, I really think that everyone should have the vaccine. I personally would have the vaccine.
Now that they don't have to keep getting the shot to stay, some say they'll likely get a booster if cases rise again.
I already don't have a booster, but if it starts spreading again, then I definitely think I will.
What about you?
My mom's going to make me, so yeah, probably.
Do what mom says.
In a statement, the university explains part of the reason for the change is that over time, it has seen that the vaccine remains effective at reducing the severity of symptoms associated with COVID-19, but does not always prevent the spread of new variants of the virus. The university says it will continue to recommend all members of the community receive a vaccine. It will still offer them and boosters on campus and will continue to collect vaccine information. Dr. Stephen Fagan says the change isn't surprising.
We've reached a point where, the cumulative immunity from prior infection is right there with vaccination. And in fact, some literature suggests it may even be more.
Reporting in Cincinnati, I'm Brad Underwood.
Now, Miami joins UC and NKU in no longer requiring students to be vaccinated against COVID. Xavier still requires in-person students to be vaccinated. Well, experts say January saw a big jump in pending sales for homes, but it's not likely to last. The first month of the year saw a drop in mortgage interest rates, so buyers then grabbed up the homes. There was an 8.1% bump up on signed contracts compared to December. That's the second straight month of gains. But rates moved back up again in February, dropping buyer demand again.
Apartment rent prices, they are still on a downward trend, and that may keep going. This has been happening now for the last 6 months. According to Apartment List, renters with new leases in January paid a median rent that was 3.5% lower than what they would have paid just last August. Housing experts say that's partially because there are more options now for renters.
There's a new community resource for people of Trotwood and West Dayton. Goodwill Easter Seals Miami Valley officially opening its West Campus Service Center. The organization says it will better meet the area's needs. It'll do that through services and programs that help people overcome barriers and become independent, like car seat safety training and skills training, as well as job placement. The center will also host behavioral health services, services for adults with developmental disabilities, even adult day senior services.
We serve a lot of people in West Dayton and Trotwood, maybe 3,000 people a year, and we were looking for a location that was kind of would stimulate sort of a renaissance or help with the growth. And Trotwood's sort of enjoying a renaissance right now. There's a new library, a new courthouse, and we're just kind of joining in with that to really help part of the West Dayton Trotwood area really grow.
Goodwill Easter Seals Miami Valley serves 19,000 people a year. Every time you shop or donate at any of the Goodwill Easter Seals Miami Valley stores, 87 cents of every dollar supports the programs.
Well, it is time to get very excited about the Troy Strawberry Festival. Organizers announcing the theme for this year's festival ahead, what it is, and when all that fun is going to take place. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
the Dayton 24/7 Now News app, brought to you by the Jeff Schmidt Auto Group.
Well, just revealed tonight, the 2023 Troy Strawberry Festival theme and logo have been announced. That theme, Berries Rock. You can get them on June 3rd and 4th for a rocking good time featuring entertainment on 3 stages, arts and craft vendors, and of course lots of strawberry food delights. You can find out more about it all at troystrawberryfest.com.